Hey everyone, welcome back to Tavern Sports Cards. This is Greg, and this is going to be the first video in a series basically of player card spotlights, and I'll probably think of a better name when I title this. But it's going to be a quick video just basically looking at a particular card for a particular player and kind of getting an idea of the value of the up and downs of the card and maybe when the best time is to buy, best time to sell, that kind of a thing. And again, with most of these that I'm going to look at, it's not going to be cards that are up in the thousands. It's not going to be cards down that are $5, $10. I'm going to try to look at cards kind of in that $100 to $400 range, somewhere around there, and just kind of give you guys some ideas and things that I look at and that a lot of people look at as far as, you know, when is the best time to make a move on a certain card if you're actually trying to flip something. So, and this is a good card because it's a good young player. They just made the playoffs, and his cards are definitely moving around quite a bit depending on which one it is. So I'm going to switch over, show you guys a couple other things. The audio will change a little bit because we're going to go over to my computer and just kind of give you guys a couple ideas on things that I looked at for the reason why I bought this card when I did.
Alright, so here looking at this screen real quick, I'm going to show you a couple of screens, and I'm not going to drag this out too terribly long, but you can see basically what I have here in Market Movers is I have the PSA 10, PSA 9, and actually even SGC 10 data that has been added into Market Movers for this particular card that I was just talking about. So really, if you kind of look at this right now, I bought this card, and we'll see if mine would be up here in the blue. I don't know if you can see my mouse, hopefully you can. I bought mine, I believe it was on July 3rd, so I think this is my purchase right here, $88.99. I believe that was probably me, most likely. I want to say I actually got it for $88.50, but anyway, I believe that's probably my purchase right there. So as you can see with this particular card is that it was kind of up, you know, kind of kept going up in a gradual level, and this was probably towards the time period you're looking here in May is kind of when they were doing good and they were going towards getting in the playoffs. And so the card value, it was kind of creeping up, and people were buying and it was going up. And I mean, you could even see that with the SGC in the green down here as well. So, and actually it's interesting if you look is that the SGC 10 is above the PSA 9, which is down a little bit. But you can see like all three of these were kind of gradually going up. Now, they were eliminated, the Hawks, you can see here. They got into the playoffs June 23rd, and then they kind of won, then they lost 2 in a row, then they won, the series was tied 2-2. Then here they lost, went down 3-2, and that was on July 1st. And then on July 3rd, they actually were eliminated. So that is actually kind of funny. I didn't actually realize that I actually bought it on the night that they were eliminated. But probably right around June 27th, when they were down here 2-1, you're probably going to notice, and we'll come back to that one here, but right here around, you can kind of see here that towards the end of June, it started kind of dipping down as they kind of got behind in the series when they lost their home game. And, you know, kind of like right here, the first, when they went down, you can see all of them. Even the SGC down here kind of took a dip down, and the 9 took a big dip, and it was dipping. So everything was dipping right here when they kind of like were on the rope, so to speak. And then it really dipped down when they lost, which right here is where they got eliminated, which is where I bought the card at, right here. And then you can see that the card, the PSA 10 is kind of held steady. It's kind of gone in here. There's been a little outlier on the bottom here, and then it kind of went back up a little bit. You know, somebody paid 104 there, 102. So the kind of went back up. Now, the interesting thing, so really, if you look at this, if you go all the way back here to May, you can kind of see how the card was gradually going up. So kind of the time to possibly sell, at one peak to sell, would have been right here when they had gotten into the playoffs, because at its highest, it was selling right here around June 12th, which again, June 12th was right before they got, you know, into this series. So that is probably about the time where you could have sold at one point. Then now at this point, now it's kind of buying, because it's kind of going down at this point until the next basketball season. So the next NBA season starts October 19th, as you can see right here. So if we go back at this, and let's go back to, like, say, the last 180 days, which goes all the way back to January. You can see in January this card was much higher. So it was much higher, kind of dipped down. Then when they started playing good, it started rising back up, and then once they're eliminated, then it starts dipping back down again. So that's kind of an interesting thing. And if you look all the way back to last October, around the time the season started, you can actually see that here in November, December, January is where it was really going up. You can see way back it was going up last year. But like right here, this is the height period is right here around January. So around January, the PSA 10 was going for like 160, 180, 140, 160, 165. We don't have SGC data back here because I think that's when the market movers added it, was up here. But so the key time to sell really looks like it was really back in January. January would have been when you wanted to sell this, and it was way low back in October towards the beginning of the season. And you can see going in the off season and going back to the beginning of the season, the card dipped down. Then the season started. He started playing good. They were probably playing good. It started going up, you know, and then it kind of dipped back down again, but then it rose back up again when they got into the playoffs. So just kind of some interesting data. Right here, you can kind of look here as well. This is on Card Ladder. You can kind of see again, it kind of was going up here in June, kind of rose up, and then right after they were eliminated, it starts dipping down, or when they were on the ropes here, kind of June 29th, it kind of started dipping back down. Oh, July. Okay, so there's my purchase right there on the night they got eliminated, 88.50. So yeah, it kind of is dipping back down. So again, I think that the key period, at least with this particular card, it appears is like if the season gets off to a good start next year in October and they start playing really good and it gets up around Christmas time, around Christmas to New Year's time, that's where the card's going to be at its height, is right during that time period. And then depending on how it goes towards them getting into the playoffs again, then you'll have another high period right around there. So that kind of looks like the key places on this particular card. And again, I also do think it's interesting is that the SGC 10 is pulling decent sales. I mean, you look at the average sales kind of running across here, you have some outliers, but like right here on June 13th, I mean, the PSA 10 was 84 and the SGC 10 was 68. So, I mean, it's not a huge difference. I mean, look how close together they were here, 82 and 74. Right there on the 15th. And again, right here, they were, on this particular day, they were like almost dead even. A 100 and a 99.99. So, I mean, the SGC 10s are even, you know, selling really well for this particular card as well. I mean, sometimes on some cards you'll see SGC and it'll actually be below PSA 9, but, you know, I think SGC, I think with the PSA and the Beckett thing going on right now, I think SGC, HGA, some of those cards are going to start coming up better and holding better value. I've been getting stuff graded with SGC myself, so... But anyway, that's all I was going to share real quick with this. Hopefully this was, you know, a little bit of informative for some of you guys. I just thought it was interesting. And again, this is kind of what I was looking at, is that back when I was looking and I saw how his card had kind of was drifting up here, and you had these kind of these four sales up here that were like 115, 120, 127, 140. I mean, it was averaging like a 120 price right around this time period when they were getting into the playoffs. So it was like 120, and then I caught it all the way when it dipped down here to like 88.50, right when they were eliminated. So, I mean, you definitely need to pay attention to stuff like this. If there's a particular card you're trying to flip, just don't try to flip it right away and get a small profit. So anyway, that's it for now on this one. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time in the tavern.